Today on Sugar Spun Run, we'll be making a gingerbread layer cake. Hey Sugar Spun bakers, it's Sam here, and today I'm sharing another carefully tested, well-researched, and perfected recipe. Today we are making a perfectly spiced gingerbread layer cake. This is a total revamp of an old recipe on the blog. I made sure this cake is essentially foolproof, super moist, perfectly spiced. Let's go ahead and get started by preheating our oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Now in a large mixing bowl, we are going to combine 2 2/3 cup of all-purpose flour, 1 cup of firmly packed light brown sugar, 1½ teaspoons of baking powder, which is right there, a ½ teaspoon of baking soda, and a whole bunch of spices. We're going to be using a tablespoon of ground ginger, a tablespoon of ground cinnamon, and a ½ teaspoon each of ground nutmeg, allspice, and cloves. I think I actually did allspice, nutmeg, and cloves, but you get the idea. It's a ½ teaspoon of each. We're also going to be adding a teaspoon of salt, and we'll just stir everything together, break up that brown sugar, and make sure everything's nicely combined. The next ingredient you need is melted unsalted butter. You'll need 12 tablespoons of this. Add it right into our bowl. I'm gonna scrape that because I wanna make sure I get all of the butter in there. Don't wanna waste any of it. We'll also be using a ½ cup of either canola or vegetable oil. Either of those would work great here. And we're going to stir these ingredients together until all of that flour is absorbed. Now you could absolutely use a stand mixer. You could even make this recipe by hand. I'm just going to be using my electric hand mixer today. Your next ingredient is 3/4 cup of unsulphured molasses. It should say unsulphured right on the label. I typically will use either Grandma's brand or Brer Rabbit. They are 2 unsulphured brands that are pretty readily available in most grocery stores. We'll stir this in. Next, we're going to add our eggs. You will need 3 large eggs for today's recipe. Ideally, these should be at room temperature, which is just going to help them combine into the batter a little bit better. There's one. I'm gonna use my pretty speckled well summer egg. Even though it's actually kind of small. If I were testing this recipe, I wouldn't use that one, but it should be fine. Our final egg. We'll also add a tablespoon of vanilla extract and 8 ounces or 1 cup of sour cream. And again, we'll stir until everything's nicely combined. Now the final ingredient you need for the cake is 1/3 cup of very hot or boiling water. We're gonna stir this in. Keep your mixer on a low speed because you don't want to splatter yourself with that water. And we're just going to stir until that's completely combined and we have a nice uniform batter. This looks beautiful. You should have a nice silky batter. And we'll just briefly scrape the sides and bottom of the bowl. Make sure there are no secret pockets of unmixed batter hiding. There usually are. Looks like we did a pretty good job today. All right, now to bake our cakes, you are going to need 3 8-inch round cake pans. I have sprayed the sides and bottom of these with baking spray, and in order to guarantee my cakes do not stick to the pan, I am going to line the bottom of each pan, I forgot the word, with a round of parchment paper that I just cut out of my regular parchment paper. Now you want to evenly divide this between the 3 pans. I'm not always really good at this when I just eyeball it. We'll see how it goes. See how it goes. Now we'll take these over to our 350 degree Fahrenheit preheated oven where they're going to need to bake for about 28 minutes or until a toothpick inserted in the center comes out clean or with a few moist crumbs. Let the cakes cool in their pans for about 10 to 15 minutes. Then you'll just want to run a knife along the edge of the cake just to ensure that it hasn't stuck. And then we're going to carefully invert these onto a cooling rack. Be careful because the pan might still be a little bit hot. Gonna come out clean every time thanks to that parchment paper. And after inverting them, we're going to let the cakes cool completely on the cooling rack before we frost them. All right, while the cakes are cooling, let's go ahead and make our frosting. Today I am doing a brown sugar cream cheese frosting. Suits the cake beautifully. We're gonna start with 8 ounces of softened cream cheese. And I cannot reiterate this enough, you really want to use full-fat brick-style cream cheese, otherwise your frosting is going to be a running mess. Next, we're adding 1/2 cup of softened unsalted butter, 1/3 cup of firmly packed light brown sugar, 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla extract, and 1/8 teaspoon of salt. And we're going to use an electric mixer to cream everything together until it's smooth and well combined. Next, of course, we need our powdered sugar. I have 4 cups of powdered sugar, and I'm just going to gradually add this to my butter mixture, keeping my mixer on low speed and trying not to get powdered sugar everywhere. Let's see if I can do the rest without making a mess. All right, I'm going to scrape the sides and bottom of the bowl, make sure there's no sugar hiding in there, no clumps of cream cheese or butter. This looks pretty good, and I'm just going to assess the consistency. This actually looks pretty nice and smooth and silky. I have a tablespoon of heavy cream here because I like to, sometimes I want to make it a little bit thinner. I'm gonna add it just so you guys can see how that looks. But this is actually, the cream is optional. Go ahead and add it, and we're going to beat that in on high speed for about 15 to 30 seconds. And high speed on this mixer is actually really slow, so I'm gonna do it closer to 45 seconds. Right, nice and smooth. All right, let's go ahead and frost our cake. Now these cakes bake up pretty level, so I am not going to level them this time. Hopefully I don't regret that. Pretty good. We'll do a nice smooth layer of frosting. Level number 2, layer number 2. You can just feel these cakes when you're handling them, how perfectly moist they are. You want to handle them gently so they don't break. Final layer, make sure I line that up. Now I do a semi-naked frosting on this cake, which I've been doing with a lot of my cakes recently, and then I'll do some decorative swirls on top. I want to decorate this one just like I did in the photos in my blog post, because I know I'll probably get some questions about how that was done. We'll be using my sugared cranberries on top, which I just made in my last video. For that semi-naked coating, you just do a nice thin layer and smooth it with your spatula. Doesn't have to look perfect, that is the beauty of it. And the cake, you can tell, is slightly domed because I really probably should have leveled it. But that's okay, we're still gonna try to hide that. Now I'm just gonna take the rest of the frosting, and I have a piping bag here fitted with an Ateco 848 tip. I'm just gonna pipe some swirls all the way around the cake. And for the final touch, I'm just gonna add some cranberries on top. All right, let's go ahead and dig in. And yeah, the cranberries are going to get in your way when you cut into the cake. They're more for decoration than for practical reasons. And that is how you make my favorite gingerbread layer cake. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's recipe, and if you try this one out, please leave me a comment and let me know what you think. I always love hearing from you. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. So moist. That's a good cake.